Hey y'all, what's going on? It's the Culture Critiques panel. We are back again to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City's season 5, episode 14, which is entitled La Vida Loca. Okay, y'all, let's get into it.
Let's go, y'all.
And we're here.
Yeah. Hey, y'all.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. What is going on? My favorite day of the week. Yeah. What do we gonna do with ourselves when they go off? Like, it's quickly approaching. They already did film the reunion, so you know our days down here are numbered, y'all. That really sucks to think about, but you know we're gonna relish in the moment nonetheless. We're gonna be excited to be down here and discuss it during this time. So yeah, I'm happy about that. The episode was good for me, but I do feel like there were certain conversations that we can obviously expound upon like we always do, but I won't say it was a filler.
No.
I just will say that they condensed the drama. I can't wait to get to next week to see, what more unfolds, because I felt like it was just getting started when it went off.
Here's the thing. You're right. That too. Well, it was getting started when they go off, but another layer, another onion layer unpeeled with Bronwyn and things that we found out that we were already feeling like we didn't know what it was, but now that we got to the nit and grit of it, the fact that she is a rookie and how hard she's coming and being so vulnerable all at the same time, like shout outs to Bronwyn. Like she's literally showing us like, look, it can be drama, but it also could be some real things in real life going on. Like my good sis always say, two things can be true at the same time. So she is very much showing us that, look, I'm not just here to be on the show. Like, I think she's there to save herself. Like, you know how people go on there and they be like, you know what? Like, there's a curse that you are, if you're a couple, you might.
She's not. Oh man. No.
I'm not putting her in that curse. I'm saying, they talk about a curse, like, you got to be careful with the woo-wop. I'm almost feeling like she probably knew about this, and not like this, like that's a thing. I'm saying that to say, like, literally, she might have needed a magnifying glass on it. She might have needed some things on it, and maybe this was her only way for her to put her own feet to the fire without her, it might have not even been consciously. And I might have not even been like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm going on this show and this is what we doing. It could have been subconsciously that she did that. And so shout outs to Brown again. She just showed out for her first season. And like, I definitely think she signed, sealed, and delivered her second season for sure. What you think?
She definitely did. And honestly, I don't know if you guys caught Watch What Happens Live, but I can say that I'm not saying that Todd has done a 180 and he's all in by any means.
Okay.
He seemed like a little bit warmer to the idea. Like I think that they will both be back next season. I think that we can kind of start to quell those rumors and feelings of like, oh my God, is he gonna let her come back? Like, I think we're good there, y'all.
Okay.
Who we got in the chat? Good afternoon, gorgeous queens. Hi, Christine.
Hey, Christine.
Hi. Kevin, our fave. What's going on, Kevin? How are you?
What up, kid?
Our other fave. What's going on, Kimmy? Always a good time to see y'all's lovely name. I can't see your faces, but I can see your names. Y'all know what I'm saying. Love to see y'all in here. She's definitely bringing it. Yeah, Christine, we see each other on that one. Thank you.
Hey, my queen, that code.
Nobody can try to put all the business out there. Yes, and I love how, I don't know if you caught that when Melissa said that to her last night on Watch What Happens Live. Bronwyn was like, she came in like, let's just, put it out there or whatever. And a lot of the other ladies, and we can discuss this as we go through the episode, they don't really believe, I don't think they believe that fully, that they should lead with the true depths of the situations that go on in their, personal lives. But Melissa told her, she's like, and if you guys don't know who Melissa is, Melissa from the Real Housewives of New Jersey was on Watch What Happens Live with Bronwyn last night in the second chair. Bronwyn had a first chair. Yeah, just saying, just putting it out there.
Just doing it.
But she was just telling her, like, yes, girl, like, because they will find it out. Like, so you might as well just lead with it. What is it? You're supposed to, put your tea out there so you don't get, spray yourself with your own tea. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I do feel like she walks in that category, controlling your own narrative. Exactly. Controlling your own narrative. I love Melissa G. Yeah, Melissa's cool. She looked good. They both looked really good on Watch.
Melissa G, is that the one that is the sister-in-law to,
yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't watch the show like I used to or nothing like that, but I do like Melissa. Like, I've watched her on I think the last time I seen them two on a show, I think it was, what was the show that the housewife does that's outside of their show? It's Housewives Girls Trip. Yeah. I'm like, what is it? The Girls Trip? Yeah. So I think they were on that. Maybe if y'all must let me know if I'm wrong. But that's when I was like, okay, they're still at it. They're still sister-in-laws. They still don't like each other. But something about Melissa, I don't like their relationship. But when I separate the two of them, I do like Melissa. So I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't have no issues with Melissa. I think it was nice. It was a good pairing, I would say. Having like a more of an OG housewife up there with her and stuff like that. I think they played off each other really well. The Teresa stands, if you guys watch this, I'm sure you'll get in the comments and, come for us. But we said what we said. Y'all just don't get it. I don't watch Jersey, but I saw Ultimate Girls Trip. Yeah. So yeah, y'all, this episode, we have them in Puerto Vallarta still. It is day 2 now. We see Whitney.
Feel like a long time. I'm sorry to get you off. Don't feel like we've been there a week.
That's what I'm saying. They keep the way that they're editing it. It's like they give us a sprinkle. We got a sprinkle last week, and then we got like a sprinkle this week. And I just noticed too. Sorry, y'all. I'm half invisible because there's so much green on my Christmas sweater. I'm sorry.
Are you just blending in?
just blending in with the background here, y'all. But they're giving us, obviously, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. You're not going to give us everything in one episode, then we wouldn't have anything to watch for the whole season, of course. But they're giving us just enough in each one of these episodes to keep us going here. So it's day 2 now. Everybody's waking up and everything. Whitney invites Heather and Angie to do water aerobics because, according to Whitney, Justin always has them do these water aerobics on the family vacations. And as she says it, it's good for older joints. That was shade. It
was shade when she first started off with saying with the seniors.
Exactly.
She said yoga's with the seniors. I said, girl,
aerobics with the seniors when we were in Cabo, and I felt just fine.
But why don't we even say the seniors? Like, why do we even have to say that they have yoga classes for young people? We don't. I know it is, but I don't want her to talk about Justin like that. Don't do that to Justin. He's like, I'm getting this.
No, I took it as she was shading Heather and Angie.
She did shade them too, but she shaded her husband first. Inadvertently.
Yeah. So they're out there, y'all, doing their water aerobics and everything. They worked up a sweat probably, and Lisa also at the same time was sending out texts to everybody saying that they're going to be having breakfast at the villa, and then they'll be going on a yacht that day. So be ready at 11. Okay, cool, great. And at this time, while Bronwyn's in her glam, she checks in with Todd, who she apparently texted that night saying, after, the course of events the night prior, she texted him during the night and was like, she coming home. She's over it, whatever. Well, I mean, fast forward, she's still there. So it looks like she had a change of heart. and she's just telling him about the interaction between her and Lisa. And he tells her that, I don't remember exactly what she said that Lisa said, but he said that was just a stupid comment that Lisa made or whatever, pretty much.
The fact that she was being that called her
snobby and all that stupidity that Lisa was saying. Yeah. Like, classic Lisa, y'all. Anyway, then we have, again, the other ladies in the pool. So when they finish up and everything, Whitney brings up to Bronwyn how it was hard to see her so defeated and, just so down and stuff when it came to her and Lisa. And so Heather chimes in and she says that she was caught up on the fact of, more so beyond Lisa, she was more so caught up on the fact that Bronwyn had divulged to them that Todd was less than supportive when the whole dog attack situation came up. So it all happens. He was in a meeting or whatever. She calls his assistant like, hey, just got to talk about a dog. Like, you need to pull him out the meeting, like, whatever. And when he caught wind of it, he just was like, she's just pretty much overreacting. It's probably just a scratch. Like, he wasn't trying to come up out that meeting. And it took Gwen going down there to the ER and FaceTiming him and showing him what we remember, y'all. I showed you guys last week, her scars and stuff like that. It took Gwen FaceTiming him for him to be like, oh, okay, yeah, it might be more than a scratch. Okay. All right. So, and Heather also says that, it took her back because according to Lisa, Todd is super obsessed with, his wife and, XYZ, but Heather's like, I haven't seen that though. All I've seen is meanness and dismissiveness and, nothing really too nice. And this is a place where Heather can relate because this is something that she kind of dealt with her ex-husband, which I realize Heather really hasn't talked too much about her marriage when you think about it, y'all. And, she says how her ex-husband was regarded as the funny, upstanding, smart, handsome man who, even when he was treating her like an a-hole, it was still supposed to just be okay. She was supposed to be okay with it and be satisfied with it because, he doesn't cheat. He doesn't have any vices or anything like that. And, so she just would pander to him and whatever he had going on, neglecting herself, putting herself on the back burner. And so, she, of course, really feels for Bronwyn in this moment. And they also talk about how Mary will be there that afternoon. For me, I really liked that. And I really liked Heather speaking on her marriage because, again, I don't recall her very much speaking on this before. So it's interesting to get that glimpse and see kind of how like the dissolution of her marriage at one point and knowing like the dynamics. I think, we might have seen her ex-husband once, I want to say. But yeah, we never really like got into like the intricacies of how it went, down or whatever, because she was already fully like divorced when she came on the show. Mm-hmm. So I like how she offered up her own like testimony, and I was hoping that can be like a building block for them to come together and really forge a true friendship. Because honestly, what Heather said is something that I've seen in my own personal life and stuff. No, not my own personal life as much as like I've seen this dynamic happen before, and it's a lot more common than you guys would think. So I think it's good to have somebody who has also been through that, and you can possibly draw some strength from. So hopefully this binds them together closer.
I agree with that. I also think that Bronwyn needs to be, on both sides. I think Bronwyn needs to be a little bit more cautious in what she tells the girls. But we say this about any married couple or anything. You can tell your friends some things about your spouse that you're going to forgive him for, but then your friends are going to remember that and they're going to hold that against him. They're not going to forget. And so I'm not saying that she's not wrong in saying what she was saying. I'm actually happy that she told us, because she knows she's on the show and there's cameras there, that, that her husband, basically thought she was crying wolf by saying, that she was bit or whatever. Maybe the verbiage she used, I might be losing my arm, might be something will make him say, what? Like literally. And we all know that Bronwyn's a little dramatic because we see the way she dressed. That's an attention getter. So we kind of get that she's dramatic in some sorts, but just for the fact that he did that to her, I don't know if I would have shared all of that, or maybe with a small group of them. But when you tell the whole group, when you're not really friends with all of them like that, I don't think it's such a good idea. That was one of my first thoughts about that. And then I haven't looked at the comment because if I do that, then I'm gonna forget what I gotta say. So don't move that comment yet. And I believe that on both sides. Even when she talks to the girl, to her husband about the girls, certain things you shouldn't tell Todd because he's gonna use that shit against them. Like literally, you're saying that you might need that little backbone, that little, hey, don't let them say too much to you. Woo wop wop. I don't think you need that. I think you got it, bro. But certain things, just don't tell your husband everything. Let him see it on the TV if he needs to, if he watches it. If not, that's fine too. Just saying. Or we already talked about, I feel like she shaded all three of them, Justin, Heather, and Angie and Missy, ma'am. Let me tell you, we're all up. Well, I'm up in the particular age as Angie, and Angie, you wasn't helping talking about this is tiring for you.
Tired. My mom's tired.
Like, first of all, I do that every single day when I do my my cardio, and so I was just like, what? So I just feel like don't shade the older people because some older people got it better together than younger people. Just let's be clear. My son ran a mile for class the other day. He ran it in 13 minutes and some change. I ran my last mile in 7 minutes and 58 seconds. So let's be clear, bruh. I outrun my 14-year-old. So don't do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it with the seniors. Don't do it. I think that is it. As far as and it's the dismissive stuff as far as Heather is concerned. I think Heather thinks that everybody read her book. We were supposed to, sister. We both got her book. And I think she thinks that everybody thinks we supposed to know everything about Heather and what went on. Or maybe she is starting to let a little bit seep out. I don't know if she had a gag order or what, but I feel like a lot of time went on that we could have already got to this part. You could have not judged Bronwyn the way you did, Heather, and y'all could have already been, all of this already could have been resolved. You could have already been a listening ear. A lot of this extra shit wouldn't have happened. So I wish you were good.
Christine, I would host that reunion. Please, at Bravo, send them our playlist of reviews, and maybe they'll get up. Andy, don't be. And we've said this about other franchises as well. Like Andy doesn't do what he needs to do up there all the time. So, yeah,
he gets caught up in the drama a lot. He gets caught up with he be looking at it like this.
He doesn't ask the right questions. There's like sometimes there's a cultural disconnect. There's just a lot of different, like, he just doesn't. It's fine. You don't have to do all the jobs. You can give somebody else some of the jobs, Andy. Like, relax.
Absolutely. I think so too.
Be careful what we share with friends, family, coworkers. Yeah. And I feel like we're gonna keep talking about this throughout the episode, even on the after show and like all the things. This is definitely a big talking point, I would say, for this particular show right now is the whole what should we share versus we shouldn't, and who should we share it with. That keeps coming up. Pillow talk, keep some things to myself and God. Yeah, and then not too, like, just certain stuff that you should just keep to yourself.
The saying is pick and choose your battles. It's the same thing. Pick and choose what you share with people, because sometimes, like I just told you, they can use it against you. You think you're sharing a deep thought or what's going on in that moment, and sometimes it might not be the moment for you to tell that other person until some time has passed or whatever, or if you don't want them to have prejudgment on your friend after you know this is how your husband is, y'all gonna get into a spat, y'all gonna make up, and then it's gonna be over with. So yeah, it is a learning process. You do have to live it, but I feel like Brahma's been with her husband long enough. But 10 years, she said. You know his triggers, you know what's going on with him, he knows the shit that goes on with you. So like, literally, don't share everything with these ladies, not yet. I know you're trying to get good TV, you're just being yourself, but be careful.
Yeah. Next up, y'all, we see everyone ready to embark on the yacht that Lisa got, chartered up for them. And she has these canvas bags with like VIDA on them or whatever, some merch. And she says that she has like all her like favorite travel stuff in there or whatever. And Bronwyn, of course, is like, let me accept this because heaven forbid I don't, then I'll be called a snob and ungrateful and all these other things. But at the same time, what am I going to do with the VIDA canvas bag? Anyway, and Meredith is, by the time they get on the Sprinter, we see 15 minutes pass. Meredith is back there, knocked out, not really looking too well. And I think it was Whitney that was like, Meredith, like, what's going on? What's wrong or whatever. And Meredith is like, she didn't sleep well. And then we see 2 hours prior, Britani telling Heather how she was awoken that night to Meredith crying and throwing up in the bathroom. So very, very odd. And as they step off the Sprinter and they're making their way to the boat and everything, because I think everybody except for maybe one person had on like heels and stuff. And Meredith, she was like tiptoeing her way over there, talking about some, what did she say? These are brutal conditions. And it's actually Angie that comes and grabs her hand and, guides her to the freaking boat. Thank God for that. And the yacht was named The Best Day. And I was like, okay, we'll see. It's called The Best Day still when you guys dock back here in a few hours. But and they're preparing the drinks and everything. They get up, they start dancing horribly, might I add. I don't think there was one person up there that could dance. And so afterwards, Lisa speaks on how Henry, he's doing a lot better. He's making friends. They're dropping him off at the movies. He's inviting friends over. He got a cologne collection going on.
Oh, Henry.
Yes, stepping into his own, because now he's in middle school and everything. So that's really, really good to hear because, last time we heard it was not too great. So he's in a better spirit there. And for some odd reason, as they're relishing in this good news, Britani thinks it's a good time to jump in and talk about how she felt super unsupported by them last night when she brought up how her and Olivia are making so much progress in their relationship. And, as she's explaining how she feels, Bronwyn says, well, the difference is, we don't like Henry. And Britani's like, well, you know me too. And, this group is just not very supportive of me and my feelings are hurt. And Bronwyn's like, she poses a very direct question to Britani. And she's like, well, are you asking this because are you saying this, the idea of telling us you have an announcement, or is it more so about you actually the idea of seeing your daughter? Like, which one is it? And Britani says, Bronwyn, you are an effing B. And so this is when Bronwyn looks over at Lisa and she's like, you have anything to say? I'm looking at you, Lisa. And Lisa's like, well, huh? Like what? Because if the roles were reversed, it would be a problem if somebody said that to you and I didn't jump to your defense. And so they kind of start to have words just back and forth a little bit. And Bronwyn's like, we've been friends for over 10 years. And you've let Britani call me a gold digger, a trophy wife, a B, et cetera, et cetera. And Lisa's like, I'm not responsible for defending anyone. I have defended you, but like, what am I supposed to just, jump in and stick up for you all the time when I know I've been a great friend? Like, just because you have it out with somebody, am I supposed to also have it out with somebody too? And Bronwyn, she starts to get emotional because, as she said, she's even pulled Lisa to the side before to let her know how she feels, to no avail. And Lisa's whole thing is that, you're expecting this from me and stuff like that when I don't expect you to fight my battles when it comes to other people, because last time I checked, if you were to do that, you would have no friends. Which I was like, ooh, So this is when Angie jumps in, or Angie and Heather, they kind of jump in and they're like, well, you never told us that any of that bothered you. And Robin's like, well, y'all haven't really bothered to get to know the real me. Like, you haven't really tried to get to know the real me in my marriage. And, such as like navigating being a stepmom, the age gap in my marriage, the infidelity, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, everybody
gas
to literally jaws were on the floor because we heard the word infidelity. Mm-hmm. And it was Whitney that asked her, like, you know, how did you find out? And Bronwyn says a few years back they were on a trip and he was on his iPad and Gwen went over to tell him something and she saw over his shoulder that he was, you know, speaking to someone. And of course, Gwen came and told her mom and then she confronted him. And she compared it to how he's always looking for like the next best thing in business and stuff. So he takes that attitude sometimes home sometimes. And like she tried to like do this whole businessman comparison.
She tried to give him an excuse.
Doing. So then I think it was Lisa, who was like, you know, she never saw the side again of their marriage and everything. And then Bronwyn was talking about how Todd gave her a ring with 5 diamonds on it. And he made her 5 promises to match each of the diamonds, 5 promises that he probably should have made, you know, day one in their marriage. And with all of this in mind, we have to keep in mind also that Todd travels 5 days out the week to New York for business. And so this is always kind of, I guess, something that she has looming anxiety over. Like, you know, she doesn't show up good enough for him, then maybe that could happen again or whatever. And then that's also something that she's feeling in the group now. You know, Lisa brings her into this friend group and now it's like, I'm not good enough for y'all either. It's just like, I'm never good enough for anybody ever. And I think this is where she also says, oh, no, this is when Meredith then jumps in and says, well, maybe he can't be that invested because you're so guarded towards him. And Lisa says, that's a great question. And Whitney, in her confessional, she's like, you know, she calls out how Meredith and Lisa are pretty much taking up for Todd in this moment and not even really, you know, taking up for Bronwyn, who's spilling her heart out to them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, and Bronwyn's whole thing is she feels like Todd means more to her than she means to him. And it really sucks too, because she doesn't have a great relationship with her mom. Her dad is, she said she's losing her dad, which I want to hear more. What's up with that? Mm-hmm. Gwen's going to college. She's, you know, lonely.
About to be empty nester.
So she's got all these things going on. And again, you guys haven't even really like checked in to see again who the real me is. And it's actually Heather that jumps in again to be a support system to her in this moment. And she's like, you know, yes, you did get pregnant young, you were a single mom, et cetera, but you're not forced to just accept whatever, you know, was good, cool 10 years ago. You're okay to ask for more now. And if he wants to give you his, you know, behind a kiss, basically, like, you don't have to accept that, pretty much is the gist of what Heather was saying. And I think it was Angie also that spoke up next. And she speaks on how, you know, Sean, he's a perfectionist. He's always ready to open up a new business, even after they just opened up one other salon. She ain't 20 years old no more. She don't be trying to do all that. So it is always a reminder. It's a reminder that, you know, nobody's marriage is perfect. And I think Meredith also had chimed back in to say that her and Seth really went through it. And it was really hard for them to redefine their marriage. And, you know, maybe he being Todd cannot show Bronwyn that he adores her in the way that she needs to receive it right now. And then all of the seriousness is broken up by Heather when she asks Bronwyn, so is that why you have so many dogs then, or whatever? which was, you know, funny or whatever, to kind of just bring it back down, you know. Mm-hmm. Brittany also, it was Lisa goes over to Bronwyn and she's like, oh, you're so much more relatable now. And then Brittany also asks for a hug and stuff. But as they're walking back to the Sprinter, y'all, Lisa and Angie are kind of having a conversation where Lisa was coming off, at least to me, as somebody who wasn't as moved. Like, if you've been friends with somebody for 10 years now, Lisa wasn't really speaking from a place of like that she was so moved emotionally by what her friend just divulged to them. And she also says that when Todd catches wind of this, when he sees this, that he's going to lose his mind. So that was a mouthful, y'all. I know, but I wanted to get through that because that was the entire like boat conversation. Okay.
First off, I'm gonna just bring it back a little bit. The canvas, talking about the canvas and what can she use, or the shade of that comment to me. This is the type of stuff I don't like, because literally, what are you guys gonna do with 1,000 Starbucks mugs? So don't shade her about some little trinketly. If anything, you should have said my gift was better. At least my gift was bling blinging. Hey son, my gift was bling blinging. Like, this is kind of, this is kind of not broke, but this kind of low budgety. Like, I would have rather her say something like that. That was just like, girl, shut up. As far as Bronwyn telling them all that information, and Lisa, all she can get out of it, to me at the moment, is that when she says that to her, like, you're much more relatable. I was like, so what do y'all talk about when y'all been friends for all this time, right? What do y'all talk about? How can you sit there and tell Heather that her husband is obsessed with her? What did you see that was so obsessive with Todd? Oh, I know what it is. I got it. My bad. I forgot. She's very materialistic. So just like he gave her that ring, so anything that he gives her, just like when she said, oh, he gave me a ring and it had the 5 diamonds and it had this. Oh my, she was so just like, oh my God, that was like beautiful. You don't see that he's trying to buy his way into keeping her? You don't see that. You literally are like, oh, that's beautiful that he did that for you. No, it's not. It's nothing beautiful that he had an infidelity on her. Her daughter is the one that brought it to her. And then he gonna go around and go buy her a ring, and then you gonna talk to her the way you talk to her? That's all out. So yeah, Meredith and Lisa, did they have an infidelity on their husband? Is that what Heather was saying, that they're the ones that are on the same side as Todd, and so that's why they're fighting with Todd?
We'll get into that when I get back to the house, and that's what I mean when I say, like,
okay.
They talk a little bit about it, I feel like, on the after show too, like, yeah.
Okay. So when she said that, I was like, okay, so y'all were the ones that had the infidelity or was the accuser of. So I can see where, you will play the devil's advocate knowing that you were on the other side of things. But when your friend is pouring out her heart, I don't give a damn. Don't put yourself in the story right in this moment. Don't put yourself in that story. Literally listen to what your friend is telling you and then act accordingly. So for me, I was just floored when they were literally, it was like it went over their heads and they were like, oh, this is my moment. So we're going to be fair in marriages. And I'm just like, girl, this is not even what we're talking about right now. That was annoying to me. I didn't like none of that. We already talked about, I love that Henry's becoming a little young man. My son is 14. He loves his cologne, girl. He makes sure he don't leave nowhere without his cologne, like his dad all the damn time. I'll be like, wait a minute. So I love to see a young man start smelling good, because that means a girlfriend is lurking around because they don't want to smell good just to smell good. They smelling good for a reason. So that I know, and the fact that he stepped out of his brother's shadow, that's always a good thing. Your brother had to literally get out the way so you can get out of his shadow, because that's what ends up happening. That's I can't think of his brother's name. That's such and such little brother. He don't even get a name. He don't get Henry. He's gonna be Jack's little brother until he becomes Henry, which that's what he is now.
Not to cut you off, but I think sometimes you need that too, and I think that's the point you're trying to make earlier, where it's like sometimes you don't even know what you actually need until you get it, and you're like, wow, I didn't even think, because he sees it as like, oh my God, like my brother's leaving, like, oh my God, it's probably so sad, but actually that's actually what you needed so that you could come into your own. If had Jack never left, you may have not ever really came. Yeah,
it'll be a shadow. It's like you got pushed off the ledge. So I love that. I didn't live that. I'm the older sister, so I watched my little sister, my sister Mallory, who's 4 years younger than me, step out of my shadow. And when she did, she stepped out big and bold and beautiful. I loved it. And I for a long time, until I was about probably about 15 or 16. I didn't want her to just tag along with me. She's a little sister. Like, I'm 16, she's 12. I don't want my 12-year-old hanging with me. But as she got older, then she became the cool sister. And so, it does flip around, and I love that. Brittany, when it comes to announcements, don't do that. Stop making an announcement. Just talk like regular people. Just like how me and my sis right here, we just talking. Just in casual talk. Hey guys, me and my daughter, we do out there, whatever the case may be. Don't clinking and make an announcement, because what happens is you water down the announcement. You make an announcement if you want to take us on a trip, you got some money for us, some excellent news, some out of the ordinary news, not no family news. It's not an announcement. That's just, I've got some good news, guys, I want to share with y'all. That's it. So I just
but she does it because she's like wanting an emotional reaction from them. And as Bronwyn said, it's like it's different when it comes to like Henry with her, because as she said, she's known Lisa for 10 years or whatever. So it's like it's going to be different. You can't demand an emotional response from somebody. Like, no, and I don't think that any of them were, like just like, oh, you guys are better now. Who cares? Like, I don't think it's that they didn't care, but it's just like they expected she expected some profound, like, oh my God, yeah, oh my, like that's so amazing. Like she just.
So what did you guys do all night long when she spent the night? What did you guys eat?
They don't know.
Matching pajamas. She wanted that.
So it's just like you can't expect them to be like that emotionally moved.
No. And then Brittany, come here, Brittany. Step to the front, Brittany. Let me tell you something. Here's another thing that I did not appreciate is that you called Bronwyn a freaking bee, and you sit there and talk about how Angie brought a bottle of wine to your prayer circle, and how I'm religious and all this stuff, but you're gonna literally say FUB on TV, national TV, to somebody. I'm like, Brittany, she reminds me of somebody that is just not all the way straight. Like something about her is just a little off. Like, and it's not like just I'm off because I don't know that I'm off. It's more or I'm looking for attention. I think she literally is just a little off. She's a little off kilter.
You see her in the after show and different stuff. She sounds like she has like a little bit more sense. So I'm like, I think she just is like,
you're right,
more on the show than she's playing it up for the camera. She has to be,
but she don't play it up for the camera when she's on the after show. So how does that happen?
So it's like she was trying to do something extra on the show and she needs not to because it makes her look bad. Actually,
yeah. Sometimes I feel like Brittany. You know what Brittany reminds me of? Somebody, and I said this about. I think I said this about Meredith as well. And if y'all don't do this, ladies, no disrespect, but women that pop pills and then they drink with their pills, that's what they kind of remind me of. I don't know. I don't take pills. I don't have no uppers, no downers. I don't know what to do, how to do that, why y'all do that. I don't take no prescription drugs. I don't have any. I'm saying that to say that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of somebody that's taking pills and then they like, oh yeah, I took my medication, but then they start sipping and then they kind of get that off kilter thing. It's not a drunkenness and it's not a absolute high. It's like right in the middle, but I'm kind of slurry type of thing. It's that. That's what she, yeah. And as far as Lisa and Bronwyn's concerned, because this is the main thing, I understand where Bronwyn is coming from, but in that moment when she's arguing or is talking to Brittany, when she deflects it to Lisa, I'm like, what? I was
like, ultimately, Bronwyn asked as someone just said, she asked a direct question, and I feel like it was fine for Bronwyn to have asked that. Like,
that was a good question
about the daughter and you mending it, or is it just about having a moment? Pretty much is what Bronwyn was asking, which a lot of us want to know. So I think that that's a bold question just to ask somebody. So I wasn't really thrown off when Brittany called her an effing B. Then after that, I mean, I wouldn't have responded like that. I could care less. But I don't really think that I was kind of confused why Bronwyn was so just. I don't really feel like that was like a regular someone calling you a B. Like, I don't really feel like that was that big of a deal in that moment. Like, no, I'm not saying you should be calling anybody a B in any context, but like, I just don't think that was the overarching thing that should have.
Oh yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah, it wasn't in. It wasn't in.
That's what you said. Like, it was just, that's just kind of what happens sometimes. It's like, F you. Like,
I got it, but I still don't understand why Brahma flipped it over.
And then,
to
yeah,
Lisa.
and you were like, Lisa, you're gonna say something? Like,
huh? I was confused, but I also understand. I'm where Braun was coming from, but at the same time, I think, because I tell people this sometimes, when people teach you a certain way, say it's, and it happens repetitiously, and they keep doing it the same way, sometimes you have to treat them that same way to get their attention. Like, who you think you talk to? Well, this is what you do to me. Yeah. Do that? Yeah. I'm giving you what you give to me. You didn't like it, so now you see what it felt like. Me telling you, hey, you're gonna stop talking to me like that. Ain't enough. I gotta show you in a moment that, look, this is, I'm gonna do it to you, and then when you go to say something to me, I'm gonna show you this is what you do to me. So right. So for me, I think Brahman was trying to tell Lisa that, but that wasn't the moment to do it in, and you didn't make your point clear enough.
Kind of draw a connection between two things that were just not connected at all.
That part. So I'm gonna leave it at that, because I know we're gonna discuss some more. But I was all kind of like, what? And the fact that, like I said, Lisa coming out, you're so much relatable. Girls, go sit down. You ain't never relatable, so go sit yourself down. And Brittany, go sit down. Stop asking people for hugs. Wrong moment. We're not cool like that. I still have an issue with you. I don't want you to hug me. Like, don't ask me for hugs.
In Brittany's defense, things were cool when they were dancing. I mean, I get it. People do just say like whatever sometimes, but Bronwyn was like, Brittany, I love you, but blah, 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 never do that again. So it was like cute. They were kikiing for a second up there. So maybe Brittany took that out.
Okay, but the last second is that you said you're F and B.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah, no. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember that. Even though I just spill my guts to y'all, and I know you, Brittany, you still back there calculating and trying to figure out some things, because that's just how you are. So me, that's how I'm thinking as Bronwyn. But
no, Bronwyn got her. But I don't know if you caught on later when at the final dinner scene, Bronwyn got her lick back. If you didn't catch that, like, it was real small. And we'll talk
about that. Okay.
Let me catch up with these comments real quick, y'all, and then we'll keep pushing. I liked when Kimmy said this. I think she should have shared because Heather would have found out. Sorry, in and out, still working. Yes, if Bronwyn did like this, we can all discuss whether or not this was the correct setting for her to bring it up. That can be debated all night. Mm-hmm. But I do think it was smart for her to bring it up, her to be the one to bring it up. I do. The best day might not be the best. You could say that again, Christine. Exactly. Great question. Now you look desperate, Brittany. Yeah, it was weird. And I say that again because, again, y'all, if you watch the after show, she said, like, she's like, I know how to read the room.
Do you?
Bronwyn was kind of nasty. Hey, Orange Blossom. Bronwyn was kind of nasty. Brittany was being vulnerable, and Bronwyn kind of kicked Brittany while she was down. And Bronwyn is grown. Lisa doesn't need to cape for Bronwyn.
Yeah, okay, look, here's the thing. Orange Blossom. It's the funniest thing that Lisa does not need to cape for Bronwyn, right? Like, she literally don't have to, right?
But Angie,
expect it. But the cold thing is that Lisa will open her mouth and somebody say something to Meredith, and that's what the thing that Bronwyn was gonna pop right out. But, I mean, literally, Meredith don't have to say. If somebody say something to Meredith, literally, Meredith goes into a corner, don't say nothing, and Lisa wakes up and be like, no, because I think Meredith, and because I mean, like, Lisa, that girl got a mouth. She'll need you. So go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's insecure to me. Bronwyn wasn't nasty. She just doesn't like Brittany. Yeah. I like Bronwyn in this moment when she spilled the beans about Todd and said her true feelings to the group. I mean, it is what it is. It happened.
I did too. It made me sad. It made me sad because I was like, now it makes sense. All these $1 million on your neck and all this other stuff. I was like, that does not make you happy. I don't care what you're sitting there saying. I don't care what you're talking about. All that diamonds, and you can't wear that shit today. You ain't wearing that every day. Where are you wearing that to? Like, that stuff is cute and all the night.
I can wear every day.
But literally,
that's what I want.
You know what he's doing. You know what he's doing. You know that he is buying you stuff to try to fill your heart up, and you're not being filled. Like,
ultimately she decided to remain in it. So
she says she decides that every day, and that's a
every
problem
single
for
day.
me. That's a
Um,
problem. You wake up every morning and choose that. You shouldn't have to wake up and choose that every day. You
but some
shouldn't.
people do. Some people just like
No.
see with friends, family members, whoever. Like some people decide to stay in situations that serve them that I wouldn't stay in. But everybody's standard of like what they will put up with is different. What her a deal breaker for her is clearly not a deal breaker for someone like you or me. Maybe I guess she likes it. I love it. I can understand her concerns. Absolutely, hearing them say that I would definitely be side eye castmates.
Mm-hmm.
Ramen spilled it because they would have found out. Yeah, that's again.
I don't know. Do y'all think they would have found out the way? I don't know. Oh no.
Or it's just I just think it's smart. It's actually, as she says, if they're past it. She said on the after. No, she said on Watch What Happens Live that they got over it quickly. So
yeah, he gave you a ring.
With that though, and we'll talk about that, how she explained it, because I honestly am. Again, she likes it, I love it, but the way that she goes about explaining it, I kind of was confused because it's like she was justifying it more than Lisa and Meredith were when we really get into these sidebar conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa and Meredith are Team Todd all day. Like, yes, we didn't even say that. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. We are streaming from both of our platforms. I see 36 of you guys collectively watching, so make sure you hit that like button, please, y'all.
Like it up, y'all. Like it up. Like it up. Like it up.
Good. In Lisa's defense, it did seem like Bronwyn threw her marriage under the bus. They've known each other for years, and Lisa likely hasn't saw that side of Todd and Bronwyn before the cameras. Yes, and they spoke a bit about that. I want to say on Watch What Happens Live too, where it's like, and Todd, they came into this whole thing with the notion of like Todd wasn't trying to share their most special moments. Like he likes to keep that to them, to just themselves, which I get, and I get how then on the reverse side of that, then all we do see is probably him coming off like an a-hole then, because we don't get to see the real cute mushiness because they decided to not really divulge.
That makes me nervous.
For me.
That makes me nervous that he does not want to show those sides. Like, why not? Why would you want to be an a-hole? And are you covering for somebody? Look, I'm not saying you could not be. I'm saying, if anything, you show the good stuff. You don't want to show just the best or the regular stuff. You want to show the mushy stuff. But if you don't, that makes me side eye you. Like, why don't you want the good stuff to be shown? Are you telling somebody on the side that, oh no, it's not even what it seems to be? I'm just with her because of the kid, and now this kid's about to go to college, because they're good for that too.
I think some people is just like they take themselves really seriously, or just like some people that like don't like public displays of affection. There's just certain people that just like, I guess they just don't want to, like, they just only want to be represented in a certain light when they put their foot out that door. I mean, that's not me, but he is. We know that Todd is a very specific person to himself, so that's just Todd math, I guess. Hey, Ray. Oh yes. Oh my God. Hey Ray Ray. Yes, Brittany reminds me of Brandy from with the face issues right now. Oh yeah. Yes, gotta give others a taste of their own medicine every time.
They learn it faster. They learn it faster. Trust me.
Trying too hard. Lisa with the relatable comment confirms her shot. Yes, it was just, she came off very like and I loved how Whitney broke it down as we get into this next scene here, where it's just like Lisa stays up here, like she's not ever going to bring it down here, and that's why I think that Lisa can empathize to that same thing I was just saying about Todd 2 seconds ago. She came on the show knowing that she was only going to show a certain side of herself or whatever. Like, we're never going to see like we're never going to get this level of realness about Lisa and John's marriage. And we all go through things, y'all. Like, there's something that they have gone through in their marriage. It might not be infidelity, but they went through something, but we're not going to see that from her.
Well, we know for a fact that he was not happy when she found them birth parents. Let's be clear. He was very upset. He said that went left. Now, how left did it go? We will not know, but we do know he was not happy with that situation. And if he had it to do all over again, he said he would not do that. So let's be clear.
Beyonce chose that life. It is what it. Well, as she said on Watch What Happens Live, it was never anything physical. It was just them. They have different levels of not boundaries, but whatever she said. She explained it like as if she was just really uncomfortable with as much conversation that was happening between them two, and him having a conversation with a person that was super flirty with him. She's
emotional.
She tried to make it seem as though she was taking it to heart more so, and it was something that it was a her problem, which I don't agree with.
Wait, the other woman?
No, Bronwyn was making it seem like he didn't necessarily do anything that crossed the line. It was just more so like she was uncomfortable by it, if that makes sense.
Mm-mm.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, I know it don't make sense to me that if that's what she's saying. No, I feel like you're trying to minimize what happened.
Very much. That's how I felt. Kimmy said, I think she might leave after Gwen goes out. I thought that until now, because if she did too, like, and they don't have a prenup, y'all, you got to remember that, that I just don't think so now, based off of how their energy and stuff like that on Watch What Happens Live, and just and her minimizing his things and stuff like that. I don't think that she will now. I don't know if Brittany is socially awkward with social anxiety, as scared of Brittany. It's something. Okay.
I can't put my finger on it, because like literally she'll be okay, but then like I said, she kind of reminds me of somebody that's just like it's spontaneous. It's like, you know what? The room is quiet. Maybe I should say something. I'll say that. Like, what, girl?
It's so weird.
And she reminds me of like somebody so much younger than herself. Now, I don't know how old she is, but she just reminds me of somebody that is stuck at an age that she's not. Like literally stuck.
So y'all, back at the villa, they all, eat a bite or whatever. I guess it was a late lunch. And Meredith, Brittany, and Lisa, they are talking a bit. And Meredith says she wasn't feeling great on the boat, but she does feel great now. Again, we got to remember that Brittany had brought up and it kind of turns into a game of telephone. Brittany had first brought up how she had heard Meredith thrown up and, all the different things like that. And, but again, Meredith, she said she's feeling great now. Okay. Angie asks Bronwyn how she feels now as well, because it's Bronwyn, Angie, and Whitney over on their villa side eating or whatever. And Bronwyn says, well, when I was sharing with you all, Lisa wasn't very like moved, really, is what I guess she was trying to get at. So she's like, so am I crazy? And Whitney, no, they also picked up on it. And Whitney says, even when Lisa does have good intentions, she doesn't know how to just listen sometimes. And Angie also was like, there's clearly something with y'all. You're over here. And I really loved how Bronwyn summed it up in that moment, because she says, it's like she's doing enough to make her feel uncomfortable, but nothing advertly wrong to her. So it's like if she complains, she's like the complainer, because it's like Lisa's not completely isolating her, but she's doing just enough to make her feel poorly without, making her hands, seem like they're dirty.
It's manipulation.
It's very manipulative, very manipulative, and very gaslighting too.
Yeah.
Heather joins the conversation. She comes and sits down with her liposuction belly button, and and Bronwyn is going on to say it felt like while you were, there having my back, which she does thank Heather for having her back in that moment. She says, she felt like Meredith was saying, well, maybe that's all Todd can do, as if, she should be satisfied with that. And, it felt like they were defending Todd once again. And Whitney says, it hits home with them because it's been something that they've both been accused of. Both Lisa and Meredith were on the receiving end of the cheating, infidelity, like allegations and stuff like that. So she can empathize more, or both of them can empathize more with Todd, who was also in those same shoes in this situation. So again, I love how Bronwyn brought up how, you know, it happened with Gwen's other grandparents too, which we saw earlier in the season, where she was, you know, caping for them, talking about they were great, wealthy, etc., the whole nine. And that's not the like, that's cool and all, but that's not the version that she, you know, got of them. She got the F your daughter version from them. And Whitney also says how Lisa has a hard time going beyond the surface. So she points out all those superficial things because those are the things that stand out to her. Like she again, and I feel like although Whitney should be stretching the truth, y'all, Whitney has her flaws about her. She's not lying about this, because we even saw this in the beginnings of the season when it came to Lisa and Bronwyn's friendship in the beginning. Lisa was like, "Oh, Hermes bag, red bottoms, Versace, I need to go be friends with her." Lisa, she does do that. She judges people, you know, off of those types of qualities, off of those tangible things. So I don't think that Whitney was far-fetched in her assessment right there. And I also giggled a bit when, of all people at the table, Heather brings up how, you know, Lisa, it probably would be hard for her to imagine anyone not wanting to be friends with somebody who, you know, had those types of things, who was rich and beautiful and cool and wealthy and all that. I'm just like, of course you of all people would say that, Heather. And you know all about friendships, I'm sure, right, with people. And then another key difference Bronwyn brings up is that those two, unlike Heather and Whitney, have never been in a narrowly defined wife role. And so they take up for Todd and ask, you know, what has she done to make him this way? Because that's, again, something that they can't empathize with. And Angie's like, you know, well, you know, something again has to be going on, because she didn't take you serious in that moment, is what it seemed. And, you know, clearly you're over here once again. So something is up. I really like that. I really, really did like that Bronwyn brought that up, because I never really thought about it like that, where Heather and Whitney were at one point, I think it was a lot had to do with obviously the religion and stuff like that. But as Bronwyn said, they were in this very small bubble of like how they needed to show up as a wife and what they could and couldn't do or whatever. Like they were very much the same in that regard. Whereas on the opposite side of things, we have Lisa and Meredith, who have been able to just pretty much exist however they're existing in their marriages this whole time. And again, they can also empathize with the whole cheating rumors and stuff like that. I really liked how she drew that parallel. I never looked at it like that. I don't know what else do I have anything else on? You can go, because I don't think I have anything else to say about that right now.
I just really, when it came to, I don't know if I discussed if this was during that time. I like the way Heather showed up for Bronwyn, and the way I don't know if it was in this one or how she told. I think it was on a boat though, because I just like the way she told her to don't get down on herself. Like literally when she was telling her, don't get down on herself. Why are you doing that? I'm like, I feel like she was almost conditioned. Like her husband gets off on watching his wife kind of squirm and act like, you know, I'm not good enough, or that he's still playing this like
superior freaking.
Yeah, superior. So yeah, I was kind of like, I was with Heather when she was talking about that part of it.
Because Heather can empathize. She's also she's been in that boat before. Of like, I have to show up in this perfect, you know, doting wife. Otherwise, it's like
which I like that she can tell her that, because like literally, I don't have that. Like I don't know nothing about that type of thing. But for her to tell her in the moment, like, no, you're a survivor. This is what you did. I like the way she had showed up for her in that moment. As far as Angie and Whitney, do you think that they are being, I mean, I know they're being genuine. I'm not saying, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes when they talk to Bronwyn, they say stuff to her, but then I still feel like they're kind of like pulling back a little bit.
That's how I feel about Heather, because as much as you just said that you like that Heather went on the after show and talked about how she still was side-eyeing Bronwyn after this whole thing, because again, y'all, you have to realize that just because you don't agree with, Rama staying in this marriage or not, that's the decision she chose. So even after divulging all this to the women, Heather had an issue, I guess, because Bronwyn had an issue with how she wasn't really receiving that much support from Meredith and Lisa in that moment. But then she went on to Instagram or whatever and was posting about how much she loved Todd or whatever on her story the next day. I wouldn't have been thrown off by that, because like, did you expect her to like leave that boat and be like, you know what?
I'm leaving him.
Like, no. And I feel like too, when you do have an emotionally charged like conversation like that, and emotions are flying, stuff like that, even if it can be about something, negative, I guess you'd say in this case, like infidelity, that release of emotion sometimes does still allow you to feel better. And sometimes that puts, for some people, things into perspective, where sometimes they do appreciate what they have even more. Because again, she only still told them what she told them. We don't know what those 5 promises were. We don't know nothing about that. So she still could have been in a space after this where she was like, wow, yeah, we went through that, but I do still really love the person that I'm with. Like, it could have just put a lot of stuff into perspective for her. So I wasn't turned off by that, but apparently Heather was. So that's why I say I feel like that more about Heather. Like, she was all nice about it in this scene, but then when you go on the after show, you're still looking at her sideways. Like, that's true. Which one is it?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I see that with all of them. I know Angie and Whitney have been like on, because they're bunking with her. I feel like that's why they are on and talking to her more. But I feel like if they weren't bunking with her, would they have did this? Would it have been the same thing? Because Whitney was already looking at Bronwyn side eye, like, you don't even realize that Lisa like kicks you while you're down. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's because the dynamic that they're all in the same room now, or is it genuine? I wonder, as a trade-off for not having a prenup, is Bronwyn named on any assets within the marriage? That's a good question. It makes me nervous. That I just hope she is smart enough to have her own stuff set aside. Like I said earlier, even if he got her that necklace, that alone would set her up. The necklace and the earrings. Not that I would want her to give it away, whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, with all these lavish things that he's bought her, I don't think that she would be a broke person if she leaves with the assets that she has.
I would be stacking the F out of my money behind closed doors. And I mean, that's on. I'm not saying like, oh my God, y'all, you need to be hiding stuff from your partner. Like, no, I'm not saying that, but like, no, I do think you should always be in a position at all times, no matter how perfect you guys are, you should be in a position at all times to, if something happens, you can go and, go about your business how you need to on a rainy day. So I would like to think that she has that, because I don't think, we got to remember, y'all, she was very much well immersed into her career, doing her thing. She has a finance background as well, right? So I'd like to think that she's, whatever, well off and doing what she needs to do just in case, especially after that. Even if she wasn't doing it from day one, she better have been doing that after she saw, whatever, him texting and stuff like that.
For sure. Absolutely.
We don't know anything about their finances. I know he wanted to buy Angie's house at one point, but that's all I know about their finances. Gaslighting manipulated to me. Hey, princess.
Hey, princess.
Drive safe.
Okay. Yeah, be safe, little lady.
Sit down after Whitney tried to throw that jazz ticket rumor. She has no credibility to talk about marriages. I don't believe anything she says about Lisa, Meredith, John, and Seth. That's what I say when I say like Whitney still has her thing. She definitely does, y'all. But she also said something on the after show as well that I really liked, which was how She actually appreciated Bronwyn bringing this up because she oftentimes feels isolated because she is so vocal about the things that her and Justin have gone through. We've seen her talk about, like, at one point they was she's kind of put, when you guys think about it, she has put a lot out there with that. What does Lisa put out there? Nothing. You guys can sit here and tell me that Seth and Meredith have put their stuff out there, and to a degree they have, but at the end of the day, do we even believe that they even really want to be together half the time? Like, we don't even know how to take them on a regular day. So I don't even count that. Like, I don't count that at all. So if you really think about it, Whitney is like one of the only people on the show that have just been like, my marriage is crumbling right now.
Her husband lost his job. Done.
We're doing, you know, whatever. They didn't have a lot of money, and like it was like a lot going on with her. And she's not lying when she says that she's been the only one that's really done that. And I can understand her appreciating someone like Bronwyn who comes on here and it's like, good, I don't have to be the only one laying it all out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true. But I mean, it didn't get put on blast. Oh, I was say it didn't get put on blast about Meredith until Lisa had the hot mic moment.
Thank you for bringing that up. Exactly. So
like nobody knew that she was the whole New York City.
We can't take that away from Whitney, y'all. That's all I'm saying. He has a lot of insecurities and manipulating her and gaslighting. You talking about Todd? Must be. Heather didn't leave her husband. He left her, which is something else. Did we know that? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I think so, because remember in the Mormon church, like she got shunned off, like, because it's like, so basically, are y'all telling us
they would still shun her even if she left him, though, right? So
I feel like they still think that men are still okay if they are divorced, but when a woman gets divorced, I don't think they look at the woman the same. I don't know. That's not my thing. I just think I think
there's a double standard somewhere in there.
It is a double standard for sure.
To be honest, it appears Heather is attempting to change narrative as it relates to championing for Bronwyn, being that she sees Bronwyn as being well received from the viewing audience. She still says wild on the after show though. We got to see this reunion. I don't know.
The reunion is going to be crazy.
Yeah, Brahma said it was a very long day.
I bet.
Yes, I'm so sorry talking about the podcast. No, it's fine. She reminded us in this episode. Hello. Where are we at? Back at home. Already talked about that. Oh, y'all. So we're getting closer to the time for Mary to touch down, but she already let us know that she's going to make sure her son is good and well taken care of before she leaves, sets a toe out of this country. And she did just that, y'all. She says she prayed about it. She got down on her hands and knees and asked God, to guide her in whatever direction she needs to go in order to help her son. And he did just that by telling her, like, hey, this facility over here, he needs to go here, out of state, 30 days. And we see them getting geared up to go. She says that, it's a great facility that she didn't have to even force him to go to. He actually wanted to go, like he was down, he was ready, he was up and at him and stuff. We don't see the wife girlfriend anywhere in sight. And yeah, it was the most important thing with that though is that he was ready to go and receive the help. So we see them going off and the whole process of getting him set up to receive the rehabilitation. And I loved seeing that, obviously, just that he was so ready to go. And I will go ahead and bring in the little part about on the after show that she talked about, which was that, again, it was 30 days and she wanted him to stay longer, and he actually wanted to stay longer too. She does say though that although he's in a better space, he does still have to earn her trust back, meaning like she doesn't give him money still. But at the same time, and she did mention how he was hanging out with his friends that he was friends with prior to, which is, y'all know how that goes. But as far as the girlfriend, she's not in the picture anymore. And Mary talked about the whole marriage, non-marriage thing, where it was like, yeah, he doesn't believe they're married for real. She looked it up in the system, wasn't able to find it anywhere across the counties. And it all comes down to the fact that they didn't send off the certificate within the 30-day time frame or whatever, how they were supposed to. And that certificate is still in his safe, which he cannot get into. So yeah, that's finally, I'm glad she addressed that. And she also made mention of the fact that he's going to be going to Las Vegas with his father. Like, he's going to be staying in the Las Vegas house, I guess, with his father. I don't know if that's permanent, temporary, what, but she did say that.
Yeah, he need a break from his friends. He don't need to be around those people. Now, like, literally, his friends ain't on rehab. They still getting down. Like, so you're not strong enough to go change them yet. You ain't strong enough to keep yourself sober. You've only been sober 30 days at this point, maybe a little bit more, but come on now.
Okay. I will keep this resource in mind if I, come across somebody who needs it. I've heard that, though. I've heard that they have some good facility. If there's a good facility or some good facilities.
Well, I knew she was in California. I didn't know. I figured that she was going to be, that he was at the one where Keisha Cole put her mom at, but that's the one that's like off of like Malibu or something like that. But I know we got to have great facilities, the kind of people that be on drugs out here.
Bruh. This part also.
Of course they were. You know it was.
But I liked how she spoke on that. But she also said too, like, she doesn't try to control him or anything like that. She wants him to learn through his mistakes. And she said even when she was getting dressed that day that he came in, he was like, man, like, I think I'm gonna get a job, or I need to get a job. And she was like, yeah, that would be good. So you have some sense of responsibility. You're not just idle hands,
idle time,
idle hands or work for the devil. So
yes.
I think, hopefully he continues on the good path. So I just wanted to say that. Jumping back into where we're at with the episode, Mary does make her arrival. She declines the welcome drink. She says she got to go to the bathroom, but she does approve of the resort. It's up to her standards. She says it's classy, and she's first greeted by Meredith, Lisa, and Brittany, who are still at that table. And like, oh my God, hi, Mary. And it was Meredith in particular that asked why she didn't come the day prior. Mary was like, well, I had and then
she should have came up with a better alibi. You had time on the road to come up with an alibi, Mary. I mean, we're not good liars, Mary. We're not good liars.
Because like at the end of the day, those are talent. Like they just okay. Like Mary can get off with saying some, I
whatever it is.
Like she's the only person that could just not have to give an answer, and they didn't push her about it, which I thought was awesome. But what I thought was even more awesome, though, y'all, is when she goes and puts her stuff down in her room, which is the master suite, by the way. She's like, I need to go find Angie. She's like, I'm looking for Angie, and Angie's like, oh my God, Mary, and they give each other some embrace. And Mary's just like, Angie is that positive person in her life right now. Angie is what kind of gives her optimism and makes her feel as though things are going to be good and right and stuff, and it's not even something that they need to even discuss. It's more of like what's understood doesn't need to be explained. She's just glad to be in her presence right now. And we know how Kevin feels about Angie, but at the same time, I will say the only way that like the number one way that Angie will be on my list is if she does something to fuck this friendship up between her and Mary, because I genuinely feel like Mary is being 100% real when she says like, this is like Angie is her person right now. Sure. And I don't want to don't fuck it up.
She won't. Don't worry about that. You ain't got to say that. The thing is, I knew. Also, let's be clear. Mary's in a good mood. She just dropped her kid off at to get himself together. But the fact is that that I can't even read that yet because I want to, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. That Mary literally has a weight lifted off. She has somebody she can confide in. The fact that, like she said, they don't even have to have no conversation about what's going on. You just know if you feel me down, something's not right, you're gonna know what it is. Maybe not in that moment, but we have an understanding, and I love that for them. Mary needs this in that moment. She's been needing some what is the word I'm looking for? When somebody helps you out, like the support. She's been needing the support, anybody support. She's been holding on to so much that she needed that support. Yeah, so she needed that.
Husband-wise, friends-wise, she genuinely doesn't have that. So I'm really glad that she does now. And I feel like, honestly, that has a lot to do with her just being overall in this better space that we're seeing her in now. Her being up and, just being better spirits is what it seems like. And I love that I feel like we're not as misunderstood, or she's not as misunderstood by us anymore. At least about myself, because I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this lady, in the first couple seasons, y'all. I'm not gonna lie.
Sheesh.
But yeah, see, we didn't even address this because I was just gonna save this because y'all, I'm gonna talk about this later, and I'm gonna do a live on
Miss Hugo.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
The Damas of things.
I have a lot to say about that. I have a lot to say. Got a lot of clips to talk about. So meet me back here later, y'all. As I mentioned before, the friendship between Mary and Angie K is what makes Angie K tolerable. Yes, you did say that, Kevin, and I love that for them. I really do. I mean, they both said that it was a genuine friendship at one point. So if it was, then yeah, I do hope they get back to that. The more support, the better, right? But at the same time, like I need Meredith to understand that she wasn't kicked out. And
yeah, I think they do need to have a conversation. I do agree with you, Ray. And she does that. Her and Meredith should be in on this, because literally she noticed that something's off. Like, notice something's off, Meredith. Your friend, and somebody else had brought it to their attention too. It might have been Heather, but whoever it was that also don't know what's going on. That the fact that they noticed that it might be something else.
Brittany,
Mary,
Brittany of all people.
Brittany, it was
Shabbat dinner, and Brittany was like, "Well, something's going." It was in Brittany and Meredith's kids, or Brooks. So
even Brooks. So for me, I'm like, yeah. And I'm still shocked that Meredith has not took a clue and went and bought her a vial.
I would have followed her to her room and been like, "Okay, where were you for real? Like, what happened for real?"
And I didn't get to say this either, because I don't think we got to it, but we didn't. I went through it because I think this is when you were telling this whole scene. Just want to go back real quick. Brittany, if we're on a girls trip, I got my room, you have your room, Barb. I hear my friend or the person I'm with on a trip crying and or throwing up. I don't call. I don't go see if they're okay. I don't go knock on the door. I don't go knock on the wall, because I can hear you. You're right here at the wall. I can hear you. Hello? Are you okay, Bookie? You need me to come help you out? Are you all right? Are you throwing up? Are you laying in your throw up? Are you crying? Is your stomach hurting? Are you in pain? Like, literally, I'm thinking to myself, Brittany, you heard her. It woke you up. It startled you. Are you the neighbor that you'll hear gunshot and you just listen and you're like, oh, it's nothing, and go back to bed? Like, what? Girl, go check on your friend. So I felt that was weird. Like, I even if you would have waited till the next morning, which I think she does, we will talk about that. But I just was like, you hear her crying, you hear her upset, you think that she's sick, you don't go check on her in that moment. You're up. She might need you.
Well, Brittany, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because for one, remember I told you there were some things last week, y'all, that happened in the after show that I forgot to to bring up. And it brings me back to one of the things that Whitney said, which is I'm actually surprised Lisa wasn't up, because according to Whitney, who's been on multiple girls trips with Lisa, that Bronwyn at the time should have been grateful to not be in the wing with them, because according to her, Lisa likes to knock on people's doors at all hours of the night and do sneaky business, as Whitney said. So I'm surprised. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm just surprised that Lisa wasn't the one that was up and a knocking.
Sneaky business.
That her words, not mine. That's all she said. That's funny that you said that too, because I was actually that nosy neighbor this morning, because I thought, quite honestly, I thought there was like a domestic situation going on outside. I was like, what is happening? I ran to the front of the house and I was like looking like, and then my neighbor, like, I guess I'm gonna assume her dogs ran away, because then I seen her running back into her house with like all her dogs. And I don't know what happened.
However, you still looked out. Nosy neighbor, you still looked out.
I would have saw some more, I would have been ready to go. But yeah.
I just saying, for me, Brittany could have, that's a moment. Like, those are moments where you could have made this a better moment for you and Meredith. Not that y'all in any moment, you need a moment, but literally, if you hear your friend is next door upset, you go check on her. It woke you up.
Or at least like, hey, are you good over there? Like something, not a knock, or I don't know.
I'm that friend that I will knock on the wall. Like, I hear you over there. You good? Or call her if you don't have a number.
At a certain volume then, because if you could hear her, like it obviously wasn't a silent like cry to yourself in bed. It was obviously an outward cry.
A hoo-hoo, boo-hoo. Yeah.
Meredith's weird. Anyway, it's now time for dinner, y'all.
Oh, God.
Not on their Sunday's best, except for Whitney under. Well,
she
still look good, and trust me, that I know exactly what designer she was wearing, and it costs money. It definitely does. But she didn't exactly get the dress memo. But the theme about the dinner again is, of course, like tequila, and that was her tequila that she was talking about.
No, it's VIDA. It's not tequila. It's VIDA. Let's be clear. It's life. It's life, baby. It's life.
Like, you get it from the mountain, you get it from some special place, special part of Mexico. I didn't really know what she was talking about.
Yeah, the soil is better, and the agave. What I was gonna say agape, but whatever agave, whatever the plant that the tequila comes from, they get an abundance of it. The soil is so beautiful there, and it's the best. And she gonna give me some of that goddamn tequila. That's what she gonna do, because I need to know how does tequila taste. And if it's, I'm gonna inbox her. need her to understand. I'm gonna need some of your tequila, lady. I'll pay for it. Just send it to California. I need you to send me some, because I want to taste it very badly. And it did look like a whole VIDA promo something. Go ahead. You can talk.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are we talk? I was just confused.
I was confused, led astray, and bamboozled.
She's been talking about her tequila the whole time, though, so I didn't really understand why this was even supposed to be more special. Haven't you guys been drinking? Isn't that the only thing you've been drinking since you got here? So anyway, Whitney, yeah, she felt like it was an unpaid commercial that honestly they can't even afford, because anyway. So they all, sit down and everything, and everybody's eating, and everything's cool for a second. Well, by everybody, I mean everybody but Mary, because Mary was still waiting for her pastrami soup. I think Mary's still waiting for her pastrami soup. Everyone was kind of confused about that, because, I like to think I know soups as well. I've never had that one. I don't like pastrami anyway.
I love pastrami, but I don't want it in no soup.
I hate pastrami.
Never. I love pastrami sandwiches, not in soup. No.
But that's what Mary wanted. But I hopefully she got her minestrone soup at least. Hopefully.
Is that what she was trying to say? Was she saying the wrong name, or was she really saying that she thought she ordered a pastrami soup? I was lost right here.
They were like, "You mean minestrone or whatever?" And I think she's like, "Yeah."
Oh, that was she saying minestrone, but she was saying pastrami. Is that what that was?
Yeah, I don't.
Pastrami. Okay.
That is embarrassing, but
and did Brittany eat her food? Because I felt like she was looking at Brittany food like, I ordered that, but I didn't get one.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it was the mozzarella and like mozzarella
Oh
and
yeah, she was
tomato.
like, I got the mozzarella, tomato, or whatever.
And she was looking at Brittany like, yeah, I had ordered that. Where's mine? I was like,
So confused.
yeah, it was confusing.
Mary was confused, y'all. And this is again where Brittany asks Meredith if she's good because she had heard her crying last night. And Meredith's like, yeah, I'm, I was upset last night.
Let's be clear though, sister. Can you set the scene though? Let's be clear, people. Let's be clear that they are not only sitting across from each other, but they are across from each other. Like they're the furthest away from each other. She's asking this question across 8 women.
She
way over there. Hey,
weird. Well, I'll finish the sentence and say, and then come back and say exactly what Meredith said on the after show that just completely invalidates this whole thing.
Oh, shit.
So Meredith, yeah, she says yes, thanks for asking, and it gets like silently awkward right now again because it's like, okay, what were you like? What is going on with Meredith that we don't know about?
Right.
And it was Bronwyn actually that broke that silence, and she's saying, well, if you don't want to talk about it, I totally understand. We don't have to talk about it, whatever. But she says she did catch wind that she was crying and throwing up, et cetera, et cetera. And so then there starts to be like this chatter about who told who. And Mary's like, well, Mary's like, can we first of all stop talking about throwing up while I'm eating? Like, that's number one. And then 2, this is where I was saying earlier how, Bronwyn low-key threw Brittany under the bus. This is that moment because then she says, here, well, it sounds like you don't want her talking about it. So I was just telling you. I don't know if you guys caught that, but Bronwyn had to make that distinction that it was Brittany that's been going around talking about it, and it doesn't really want it to be talked about. So I just wanted to make sure you knew. So yes, Bronwyn did get her look back, in my opinion, y'all, with that. And this is where Meredith says that she was upset about the slut shaming, so she cried. Okay. And Whitney, she's confused because last time she checked, Angie and Meredith made up at dinner last night. So at what point did Meredith become, the advocate for the sluts of America? Like not really understanding. Let me pause right there real quick, y'all, to just say that again, on the after show, Meredith actually talked about how she was thrown off because Brittany they already had a one-on-one conversation about this. Brittany had already asked her why she was crying or whatever. They already had this conversation. So she didn't understand why now we turn around and now the whole group knows and we're talking about it, in front of the group. We talked about this.
Because basically when she woke up that morning, they must have crossed paths.
She knew she didn't throw up. So she's not understanding why this narrative is still going around to everybody. They clarified it.
And Brittany looking for another moment across the table. Here she go. Hey, Meredith, you okay? Because, you were crying and throwing up earlier. I just want to know. I already told you.
So weird.
But here you go. Oh, go ahead. It's just, Brittany is weird.
Weird, but I had to let you know. I'm so glad I was able to catch the after show because it's like, girl, like this whole thing could have been like not a thing, but you wanted to make it a thing, Brittany. Got it. So, of course, Angie jumps in and she's like, do you feel resolved with me, Meredith? Here we go again. And Meredith says she moved on emotionally and she doesn't want to go backwards. And this, y'all, is where Lisa jumps in. And I'll ask this question and pause right here real quick because so Lisa says she thinks Meredith should say how she feels instead of saying she doesn't want to talk about it. And my question is, I understand where Bronwyn's coming from. I completely can take this as a whole. Lisa's quick to jump in when it comes to Meredith or, whoever else. I get it. But at the same time, when you really think about what she said, I don't think that was truly in defense of Meredith, though, because it was more so like trying to hold her accountable to say, like, clearly you have an issue, Meredith, so speak on it.
That's how I took it.
So, but I still get Bronwyn's point where it's like you still jumped in when it came to somebody else and not, me or whatever. But when you really think about what Lisa said, it really wasn't anything like super like she was trying to windmill for Meredith as much as she was trying to ask her like, girl, just speak on it if you have an issue. Just saying. So then Angie's like, look, you said you were going to stay out of it, Lisa. Here you are jumping back into it. Like, this is between, us pretty much. And then they start going back and forth because, as Angie says, Lisa keeps getting into the middle of things where she doesn't need to get into the middle of things. And, Lisa asks Angie, she's like, so do you think you're a badass right now? Okay. And Angie's like, do I have to be a like, this makes me a badass because, like, can no one address you? Does that make you like the boss or something? Like, why can't anybody bring up anything when it comes to you? And this is where then Whitney enters the chat to say, she finds it interesting. She finds it interesting that Lisa says, or Lisa wants everybody to care about like her, feelings and stuff like that. But when the roles are reversed, she doesn't care about, anybody else's feelings. And of course, Lisa's got this like growing chip on her shoulder right in front of our eyes. And she's like, no one cares about, my feelings at all. Or, especially like, then Lisa and Whitney start going back and forth. She's like, no one gives an F about me and my feelings. You of all people, Whitney, don't give about my feelings. So of course, Bronwyn feels like this is an invitation for her to get back into it. And, Lisa's whole thing is like, you stay out of it. You stay out of it. She's trying to just keep it between like this person and this person. Bronwyn doesn't take too kindly to that because she's like, I'm just supposed to be like, you're just going to dismiss me. I'm just supposed to be dismissed because you're like Lisa Barlow pretty much. Like you're just allowed to shut me down. No, like she's sick of it. She's not here for it. And Lisa, but at the same time, is also sick of it. She's not here for it because it's like, this person coming at her, this person coming at her. She obviously feels ganged up on. She feels like everybody having, an issue with Lisa. When at the end of the day, she's been a good friend of both of them. And, even with Whitney, like, it's like, you should be even lucky that you even have a seat at the table right now. Cause I'm really not effing with you. And so Bronwyn, this is what she brings up again, what we already know, which is that she felt like Lisa was more so caping for Todd when she was, so vulnerable earlier that day about everything that went on, with that sour moment in their marriage. Mary, I loved when Mary jumped in. I don't know if you guys caught this, but Mary jumps in to say like, she's really hurt, which I feel like a lot of times, especially this season, we've seen Mary jump in to kind of be the voice of reason and kind of just like give it to us straight and say exactly what this person's feeling or kind of summarize some things. So I shout out to her for saying that. Then Angie takes the baton and she's, saying that Bronwyn has opened up to others, to them a lot more in the group in comparison to others, such as Lisa. She just met, Bronwyn, and she's learned more about her entire marriage than she knows about Lisa's entire life. Of course, Lisa takes this as a dig and she's like, what? I talked to you, about my kids, and she's shut down at this point. We could see that. We literally see her shutting down. She's pissed. She starts crying. Mary's asking her like, why are you crying or whatever. She's like, you guys don't care. It doesn't matter. Whatever she says, brushes it off. And she gets emotional to the point that she gets up, walks away from the table, and she's over this. She's ready to go home. She don't want to be here anymore. She's done with it. But all we want to know, all inquiring minds want to know, is where the fuck is the dessert? And that's where it is.
Shout out to Mary.
I was wondering because I'm all about the dessert. Bring me a butter cake, bring me a lava cake, bring me something. Yeah, y'all. It was very interesting. I think that there's just so many people that have it's just a lot of built up resentment. They need to really have a circle moment, and just everybody just needs to be able to get out their stuff because everybody has some type of qualm with somebody else, and it's only going to continue to grow and come out at different. It's a lot of misdirected anger and stuff like that because it's not even that they're arguing about what is currently happening a lot of times as much as they're just acting ill feelings from the last instance or this or that. And hopefully they're able to kind of put some of these things to rest at the reunion, because I mean, when we come, I'm gonna be ready for some new stuff next season. So I don't think anything is beyond repair. I don't think. Do you guys think? I don't think that anything is beyond repair at this point, for the most part. They just gotta want to fix it and want to be like they need to learn forgiveness. Not too many people at that table know forgiveness. Just saying. And then Todd hasn't seen the episode. There's one more thing I wanted to say. Heather says that it was irresponsible of Whitney to attribute if Lisa was a dictator, she wouldn't survive. Yeah. On the after show, Heather had the audacity to talk about, like, because Whitney described Lisa as like a dictator pretty much, that, always wants everybody to side with her. And Heather came to, of course, Lisa's defense. And like, would you say that Lisa isn't a dictator? Because if she wasn't, she wouldn't be able to survive in the group. That's what Heather says, that Lisa cannot be a dictator, because she would not be able to survive in this group, because we all have strong personalities.
Because everybody got strong personalities and all that stuff. She can think that in her own mind still. It may not be true, but it doesn't stop the fact that she may think that in her mind, like, I run the group, can't nobody tell me nothing. They all have that. None of y'all run me. I have my own thought, and not so much that what I say go, but y'all not about to change my mind. They all have that. None of them are like followers, except for Heather. Because I feel like Heather still is. She ain't never gonna claim it, but Heather still is looking for Lisa to pat her on the head. Good girl, you're such a good girl. Like, I literally feel like Heather is just. I think she thinks the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City would be just the best thing as ever if I can get Lisa to really like me for me.
This is Lisa's ass, and I'm Heather.
That's what I'm saying. That's the part I see.
Every day of her life. And it's actually maddening for me, y'all, because we're obviously at the point where I just rather, like, Meredith, Lisa, and Heather, I just want them to come out with it and say we have an alliance. We have an OG alliance.
Literally. Because that's what it looks like.
Because it looks crazy by acting like what we see is not happening. Like,
because Lisa, let's be clear, Lisa, you were very strategic in how you place everybody. If you and Angie are such good friends and y'all got bygones be bygones, and we talked about the kids and our kids just hung out. Why is Angie in the villa, the other villa?
Ooh. I'm glad you brought that up. Another point that I meant to make last week too about the villas, which when you're my girl, but I have to call it out.
Okay.
Was think back to Palm Springs, y'all. Meredith had found it interesting because Bronwyn chose the wing with Whitney and Angie when they were in Palm Springs versus picking the wing with, Lisa then. So it's just like she didn't understand why it was such a big deal now, when if you wanted your friend so close for comfort at the time, wouldn't you have wanted her to be like that at Palm Springs? I was like, you kind of have a point. Can't lie about that. You do kind of have a point. But I think Bronwyn's whole thing is right now, like, she needed it even more because we do have to take it into account. So maybe I'm jumping back onto offense right now with this. Bronwyn did just get attacked by a dog. I don't know, like, if something more had happened with the whole Gwen grandparent thing at this point. So I think she was even in a more vulnerable, like, low space maybe at this point. I don't know. But I just wanted to bring that up because I did think that was an interesting fact. Like, technically, Bronwyn, you didn't really want to be near Lisa then.
Yeah, but if we go back on how Lisa talks, if they made up, as many times as they've talked and made up, and we think that Lisa's like, no, Bronwyn, you're my friend. I come to I take it for you all the time. And then you turn around and then it's crickets when Bronwyn is feeling like attacked and you see her feeling attacked, but you still don't say nothing. Like, even if it don't have to be like, hey, y'all, stop talking to Bronwyn like that. It don't have to be so direct. It could just be like, can we all just get along in the words of Rodney King? when Britney said, you're effing B to Bronwyn, not that you'd have to literally be like, Captain Save-A-Hole. I'm just saying, but at the same time, you are sitting next to Britney. You could have been like, Britney, that ain't nice. Like, you didn't have to go there. Like, you know what I mean? That's what Bronwyn is looking for. She's not saying cape all the way for me, but like literally, if I'm standing, like she said, if Bronwyn, the shoe was on the other foot and Bronwyn was sitting next to Britney and Britney said that, you think Bronwyn gonna let her say that to her? She'll be like, now, Britney, I don't, because Britney, Bronwyn does it all the time. If you notice, Bronwyn will be sitting at the table like, yeah, I don't know if that's how it really went. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I saw it that way. She sits there and tell y'all to y'all face every time. She tell y'all every time. She might not be boasting it out, but she sits there and tell y'all like, yeah, y'all wrong. No, it didn't quite work out. It wasn't like that. And or we'll gaslight y'all and tell you like, well, let me tell you how it went. And then if she wants to gaslight and make some shit happen, that's what she does. Like Bronwyn knows how to. She plays chess. She knows how to play the reality TV game.
She does. She has made some rookie mistakes, so y'all, we can't negate that. I feel like she has made a couple rookie mistakes, but for the most part, Mama's handling herself well this season. For this to be her first season.
I want to know if it's mediocre. I drink mediocre liquor. I mean, you know what I mean? I've had it all. Like 1800. I want to be able to place it. I want to be able to say where she falls in the bottom all the way to the top. Right now I have some, I don't know if you ever had Mandela, I think it's called. It's in like in a flowery, it's in a round, it's a beautiful bottle.
I wonder if it's
like it's flowers, it's like it's round, it has flowers on around the whole thing.
Have a hole.
It just says it looks like Mandela, but it's mandala. I have a picture of it, and the bottle is like a $200 bottle of tequila. I tell you that tequila is delicious. Yeah,
we have that downstairs.
Oh my God, I'm coming over right now. So good. First of all, you don't need no chaser. It's so smooth. It's so good. Like you don't need an orange slice. You don't need a lime. You don't need nothing. It's really a very smooth, and it's dark with the one because it says very anejo on it, I think. So I like reposado and I like anejo. So the fact that it says very anejo, oh my gosh, it's the smoothest. So I want to grade it, to be honest. I really want to grade her stuff.
Thank you, Kevin. I love
and Kevin, I've had like I think once or twice. I was okay. It wasn't like my favorite. I can't believe you didn't say Johnny's pastrami. Like literally, I can't believe you didn't put Johnny's pastrami from LA. Like, even though they're expensive now, it's not as big as it used to be. But back in the day, Johnny's pastrami's always at the longest lines.
I can't do it, man. Meredith defensive gives me something like that's what I'm saying when I say, going back to what I said earlier about Whitney being like the most forthcoming about a lot of that happened in her marriage. Meredith, it's just, I don't trust her as a person. So I don't even trust what she's even showing us about her marriage. Like I only think she gives us half of the story. And that's kind of the tune that they were speaking to in the after show. Her and Lisa were very much on the side of Bronwyn shouldn't have said this. It's going to be used against her. And I'm just like, I understand what you guys are saying, but at the end of the day, who's going to use it against her? It would only be y'all. So are you saying like just say that you are the ones that you're talking about? It won't be an issue if you don't make it an issue, Lisa. So, and that also tells me too that they don't fully lead with all their truth. Then if they have an issue with her putting it all out there on Front Street, that means that they don't do that. That's my issue. Differently by Lisa, and she holds Lisa accountable. Lisa doesn't like to be challenged, so Lisa left to escape accountability every time.
Did y'all notice how when Lisa said, Bronwyn, when I was there for you, but on the yacht, I came to you and I even asked you, what did she say? I came to you and said, she said, I asked you, in a soft voice, like, are you okay? It wasn't, are you okay? It was something she said to Bronwyn, like, besides that makes you more relatable. she said something else in that moment. And I was thinking to myself, Lisa, you're weird. I don't even know how to get there. She's weird in the moments that she should be like more of a friend. She doesn't even know how to show up to be a friend. She like literally.
She talks about John like that too, though. I just think like when she's like weird with like emotions or something. Or again, another reason why she probably sees things from Todd's perspective is because she doesn't want to like to some people, like showing like certain types of emotions, they equate it to being like showing weakness and stuff like that, which I mean I don't agree with. I just think like emotions are emotions. You show them. We all got them. But I think for Lisa, she just doesn't want to like just show like any side of anything at any point. And I feel like we see that even in her marriage, because I feel like the way that she, remember when they played that game at in Palm Springs or whatever, and Lisa was like, oh my god, when there was it the sexual positions or something, and she was like, like she don't like to really like get like into stuff. It's weird. And even the other day I seen on her social media, because it was John's birthday or whatever, like even the birthday post she put up about him was like, it just lacked a lot of emotion for me. It was just kind of very, very surface. What she said: happy birthday, John Barlow, to my North, my bestie, my everything. You are so witty, kind-hearted, hardworking, and smart. I know every day I'm so lucky to be with you. Like, I don't, it's not that she said anything bad, y'all, and I'm not here to nitpick, but it's very like, just very nice. Like, I feel like they probably
like
have
formal, like not a husband and wife.
Yeah, there's no like affection or passion or like flirtatiousness behind it or whatever. And I feel like again, this right here, and I feel like she's like that too in her friendships. Like she doesn't release that type of emotion with anybody. Weird.
Yeah, she reminds me of somebody that probably never had an O.
That
was a lick back in the day. Yep, I personally like to have way more after the LA Rise Johnny chart. They practice is super ridiculous and it's not as fat. It's funny because I had the hat for the first time like last year, or probably last year, and I was like, it's pretty good, but ain't nothing gonna ever beat the Johnny's. Sorry, I don't care how high their prices get. Back in the day, Johnny's was shit.
we have great pastrami back home. My family loves pastrami. I just don't.
I buy pastrami all the time and make it myself.
Lisa's Deaf Selfish. Heather's the queen of the Pygmishas. Another circle moment. Well, the camp outing one. It did. Okay, when I say circle, I mean they just need to come to Jesus moment in general with all of them, and just let like a lot of this old skeletons and old hurt just go. But it's Housewives. Who knows if we'll ever get that? Probably not. It's just. I
don't want them to be fake and phony about it. Like how Heather started with the Britani and such is not talking, then this person and this person not talking, and then this person and that. It's like, if we know all that, so why we can't talk? Because y'all know y'all gotta work together. So let's get to the bottom of it. Even if I don't like you, get to the issue that made you the most mad. The last issue that made you the most mad. And if you can't get through it, don't fake it and be like, I'm over it, and then it comes back up, Meredith. Because that's what's literally keeps happening. Angie is asking you because you're still acting stank.
Angie, like you've done this like 2 times now on just this season alone. I feel like where everybody's thinking everything's cool. When I tell you, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, y'all. Is like us going away from a situation thinking everything is good or whatever, and it not being good, and then I got to hear it from either somewhere else or you start acting weird towards me, and I'm like, I'm a very value person when it comes to stuff like that. I hate that. I hate it so much.
And that's what Angie's going through, and that's why Angie keeps asking her and sounding redundant. Like, is everything okay? Are we good? Are we okay? And then Meredith is the first one to be like, I'm leaving it in the past. It's the past. No, you're not. You're leaving it right here in front of you, and you can't get past it. I got past it. You can't. Because you won't resolve it. You rather hold on to it and then use it against them later. You are
figure out the party
later. Yeah, I don't like that.
That's so stupid. Looking to see if I have anything else in here. He hasn't seen this episode of he hasn't seen this episode, but Bronwyn did say that she talked to him when she was still in Puerto Vallarta, so he knows that this was all talked about and stuff like that. And she also said, again, I said this earlier, that they had got over everything pretty quick. Because again, it was never anything physical, according to her. She was just uncomfortable with how much he was talking to someone who was very flirty with him, and she was trying to tell them that day that it's more so that she's insecure and she takes things very personal. Again, justifying I feel like his behavior and basically like giving him a pass. Todd did admit he probably did appear to be too harsh to her, though, and for him admitting that, I gave him like this much grace.
This was the after show.
This was on Watch What Happens Live.
Watch What Happens, okay, because I didn't get to see that. So I'm like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Do you think? Okay, so say he doesn't see the show. He doesn't see that Bronwyn talks about an infidelity. So basically, we still don't know if the infidelity was sexual or if it was just emotional texting.
She says that it wasn't. She says it was just those messages. And it was
emotional. Okay,
comfortable about it more than it was like a true like cheatation. I feel like that's her giving him too much leeway, but whatever.
So with that, my thing is, so say
this too is like telling me that he hasn't really like. No, I'm not gonna say come to terms with it, but like he hasn't really like stand. You did it. Oh well, like you better watch it, and it is what it is. Not you being like, oh, I don't want to see that. Don't want to.
Well, my thing is this: if he watches or not watch it, if you're gonna be on the reunion, they're gonna ask you.
And they did. They said I think he said it. We spoke about this at the reunion and stuff. So.
Okay, that's all I want to know. If he's going to be at the reunion and they're going to have to talk on it, speak on it, whether he saw that or not, he lived it, so he doesn't have to watch it. He knows what happened.
No, he doesn't have to, but I just want to make sure it's not so much so as he's trying to like just kind of like brush it off or minimize it.
They're not going to let him. That's what I'm saying. Even if he tries to minimize it, I'm not watching it. I don't care to watch it. I don't even watch the show. Good for you. You don't have to. But guess what? You did live this, and they're going to ask you at the reunion. So be prepared because it's coming. Whether you watch the show or not, it's coming.
It sounded like he was, him and Joe Gorga are now like besties or whatever. So hopefully he gave him some pointers. I don't know. But again, I still stand by what I said in the beginning. I do think that he still was very much adamant about he doesn't like being on the show. I do still think that he's not going to stand in her way of coming back. I think we're clear on that, thankfully. And he also said that his favorite housewife is Mary. Not really surprised there. That was really it. Didn't really say anything else.
We're on 14. What do we get? 16 or 18?
I think we looked this up. Let me see.
I know. I remember. I feel like it was 16.
Probably.
I feel like it was 16, and then we get reunion.
15. The girls' trip to Puerto Vallarta goes from bad to worse when someone is caught red-handed recording the women, causing everyone to.
That looks like it's gonna be Whitney.
It has to. It has to be.
It's Whitney because Meredith is in the back. Then it's
the way it was set.
Two people, and then the next person in front of them is Whitney, and she's looking directly in front. And it's got to be Whitney because she's probably tired of trying to tell Justin exactly how it happened. So she's gonna probably be recording some things. I don't think that's smart.
February. Oh, okay. It says there's 9. No, it says there's 19 episodes. This again, according to Wikipedia.
Okay.
The last one airing on February 5th, I guess.
Okay, so because we know we're gonna have Christmas
break
on a Thursday. Wait, what? Christmas on a Wednesday or Thursday?
We got New Year's Eve, we got Christmas, we got some holidays in there. So
those, they might not show them during that time. I was just saying, I'm glad we still got a few more episodes because we still didn't get the girls looking like Lisa and being Lisa. Hi, I'm Lisa. I can't wait to see what that's going to be about. And she's going to eat that up. She's such a narc.
I think it's not even so much as like I think he thinks he didn't do anything wrong as much as it's just like he just in my mind, it was more so you saying you didn't watch it or whatever is telling me that you don't want to like, I don't want to say dwell in it, but just like you wanted you apologize, you did what you have to do. I'm not gonna allow you to throw it in my face like anymore at all. Is kind of what I took from that. And I'm like, no, like if it gets thrown in your face tomorrow, it gets thrown in your face tomorrow. Like you put yourself in that position to be looked at as a cheater. So oh well. Like we're not just gonna glaze over it to make you feel comfortable in the moment. Like it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Mary is his favorite housewife. Mary is my favorite too. I'm so proud that Vanity Fair named Mary as having the best housewife performance. Oh, I didn't see.
I gotta see that. Nice.
That's so cool. I'm like when you talk about a comeback, a housewives comeback, like I can only really think about Mary, y'all.
Literally, because we both were. Me and Barb felt the same way about Mary. You know, she was just kind of off kilter. Quirky, kind of, a little weird. And then I'm not gonna put this on my sis, but for me, I was like, maybe it has to do with with her marrying her step grandfather and all this stuff, but literally none of that has anything to do with anything. Like she literally is, we just need to get to know her more and not judge it for what we thought it was.
When Cosby was introduced on what has become the most consistent Housewives franchise, Bravo led with the fact that she married her step-grandfather at the dying request of her grandmother. Cosby was quick to note a rocky few seasons followed. She delivered one-liners that were unpredictable and brutal, declaring that one fellow housewife smelled like hospital and that another looked red. But by season 3, Cosby's mean girl shtick had grown too dark to feel delicious. After a much-needed time out, she wisely distanced herself from her title as First Lady of a Pentecostal church and invested in some genuine friendships. When Cosby was brought back as a full-time cast member on the show's most recent season, it was a complete return to form. She's as quirky as ever. Her slinking in late and inadvertently into the center of Meredith's bat mitzvah is an all-time visual, but also completely vulnerable. Only Cosby could find a moment of levity in a powerful scene about her son, Robert Jr.'s substance abuse problem. I think I love you more than Dad, she tells him with a tearful smile. Don't ever tell Dad I said that. It was the first time I'd thought of Cosby's husband all season. Like, I don't even think, like, we don't even really, like, that's just so she just has so much more that she's bringing that, like, we don't even go straight to that anymore, which I love. I love that for her.
She changed the narrative. She definitely changed the narrative.
She really did. I see her, like, completely differently. One other thing on the after show, I also didn't, again, we got Meredith and Lisa caping, I feel like, so much for Todd, especially Lisa. She kind of like drew a comparison between like, well, Bronwyn shouldn't have said all that because also he just came out with a new business and, just making it seem like she could like, sabotage his image or whatever in business because of what she like, said or whatever. Because she Lisa has these weird phrases, and she said something along the lines of like business people judge you based on how you treat your wife or something like that. Something like that. And I was just like, fuck the business. I don't care about his business. Like if he's not, no, that doesn't. And that's, I feel like what Heather was, I thought, trying to say in the moment is like, no, like all of that is secondary. Like why should we care more about his image and his stuff? He should have cared more about his image than to be texting that girl or whatever in the first place. Like,
in the house where somebody can walk up on you to look at that. Like literally, you're in the house with the wife and your stepchild, and your daughter walks up behind you and sees that. You are not doing your job, sir.
I'm so glad that also he didn't like shy away from it too or anything like that, because had he like denied it or something like that, then that would have been him calling Gwen a liar. And if I was Bronwyn, automatic divorce. Because you're not going to call a liar.
You're not going to do that. Yeah, no.
Like at all. But I just didn't like, y'all go watch the after show because you can hear it verbatim how she tried to like spin that and bring his business into it. I don't care about your business. Like, treat your wife good. Anyway, yeah, y'all, that's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got.
That's all we got. But it's a good episode as far as Bronwyn opening up and stuff. We really appreciate that. You didn't have to, but we
But
do appreciate that. And I also feel like that's therapeutic for you. You get a lot off of your chest, and then you're able to say, either wash that out and start anew, but at least you got off your chest. So I feel like Bronwyn is, shedding old skin and, coming into her own, whether that's going to be, able to talk to Todd in a better tone where she grows. I didn't say this earlier. I think she just needs therapy to get her self-esteem back where it needs to be at. Her, because that's all it is.
it should be really
It's all the way across the board. It's from her friendships to her relationships. It's all the way across the board. So she gets that fixed. I feel like she'll be a better person. And she doesn't play a victim, which I love that. She doesn't just be like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And she doesn't do that. So I really feel like she's going to be okay. Watching this back is probably giving her a little bit more like, hey, you know what? I'm insecure. I need to fix it and let's move on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Once she does that, I think she'll be even more unstoppable, y'all. And of course, we're gonna be down here to talk about it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's gonna catch this on the replay. Yeah, I appreciate you. Don't forget to like on all platforms, all the stuff, y'all. Check the description box. Follow us on social media. Y'all already know. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye, guys.